It's time now for the award-winning #1 local talk show in Northeast Pennsylvania, The Sam Lesante Show. Now here's your host, Sam Lesante.
Well, welcome everyone to the Mayor's Report. I'm here at the Mayor's office in Pottsville. Mayor Dave Clews. We do a monthly show here telling you what's happening in Greater Pottsville. But however, remember, what happens in Pottsville affects a lot of areas, and so it's interesting to see what's going on. But before we talk to Dave, I got two things to discuss. Number one, thank you very much, Northeastern Pennsylvania. This is the final scientific poll that was done by Susquehanna Polling and Research. It's scientific, and once again, the Sam Lesante Show, the show you're watching right now, hits 56,000 people in 1 week. All of our shows that we do, which are neighborhood programs, are anywhere from 25 to 30,000 people per week. Probably the #1 local shows that we have, especially our health shows. I want to thank you for all the people who participated in the poll. And also, we're very happy to announce that we are now media partners, not only with the Standard Speaker, but we're happy to have the Pottsville Republican Herald on board. Now, you know, when you talk about local papers, it's extremely important, my friends, because they bring the local news to you, what's happening in the community. If you're not subscribing, I highly recommend you subscribe. And here's another thing. I know every week I use their coupons. Last week I saved $21.50 with the coupons. It's amazing what you can get from the paper. So keep the Pottsville Republican Herald in mind for subscriptions as well as the Standard Speaker. Mayor, how are you?
Good. How are you today, Sam?
I'm doing fine. I like your shirt.
I knew you would. You know.
You got good taste. How about this report? Isn't that wonderful?
That's wonderful.
I mean,
those numbers and know, you're actually being watched.
Yeah, and despite this Italian face, no, I'm very appreciative of that. You know what happens, Dave, when you have local programs like we produce. We're a production house. We do not fall in the Nielsen ratings where they get the diaries, etc. Now we do people where they say they'll write names in, but we don't see those. But for people like clients like you who want to know, if we're going to invest in advertising, who's watching, and we found out that we have a great audience, and that's important.
I know, Sam, since I've been, doing this show, often I run into people on the street or somewhere, and they say, "Hey, really enjoy you and Sam Lesante on the air. Keeps us informed on what's going on in Pottsville. It's a great thing." So.
And that's what we're all about. Same thing with the paper here. They do local events, and when you need things, they're there for you. The city of Pottsville, I love this city. I've been here since 1999. You were one of the first people involved with us. Give me a review of what's happening in the town today.
Well, I think there's a real positive spirit happening here. We're seeing a lot of new businesses open. We've expanded on a train ride that comes to Pottsville now. Just met this past few days here with the group to organize next year's schedule. Of course, we always have, the home of America's oldest brewery, Yuengling Brewery here, that, attracts 70,000 people to our small town, which is a real plus. We've got things happening within the city, good news, bad news type of thing. My police chief, who you've met, Chief Wojciechowski, is leaving us after 31 years another profession. That's kind of exciting and kind of sad at the same point. Exciting things going on that way. Very positive vibe right now.
I mentioned, and you can see it, you can sense it, in the different areas. And a little later on, we'll have Bill Messaros coming on, right? We'll be talking about. Oh yeah,
Councilman Messaros does a great job with our Parks and Rec.
I remember coming down here, and there was we did interviews sometimes on the pool. And the recreation, and I'm anxious to hear what Bill has in store for us, in terms of the different areas. In terms of dealing with the businesses, all right, how are the downtown businesses doing?
I think they're doing well, and I think that's why we're seeing so many new businesses opening downtown. They believe in the rebirth. I just was defending us against another local tourist attraction that, hey, I have a beautiful downtown here. I might be a little biased being born and raised here, but we have some great architecture downtown. We have safe streets downtown. There's plenty of places to park, as much as parking is sometimes an issue. But there's just a lot of great things happening down here, and the diversity of the shops that are opening, from Event Center with Arrow across the street here. We just had a new Canine Bakery open up. Bailey's Bones and Canine Bakery just opened this past week. Layla and Locally, a nice candle and soap shop is opened. We got the chopping block. We're working on their building every day. It'll be a sports bar and axe throwing venue. So there's a lot of unique things happening here, and it's really great to see people realizing that things are happening.
Participation from the community. When you're looking at, we always reach out and say, look, if there's anything that we could do for you in the city to make it better. Have you had a lot of participation or interesting people coming up and saying, Mr. Mayor, I think we should blah, 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 with our roads, with our crime, whatever?
Oh, I think all, from myself through, all the council people here in City Hall get input from, our residents on things to improve. We don't have the luxury of being able to drive every street every day and see things, but we get a lot of good input. It's not all good, and sometimes it's things we have to correct and work on, but, there's a willingness to want to take things forward. The downtown business community even recently did Oktoberfest on probably one of the worst days that could happen. It was a rainy day. It was still profitable for the business association. There were still people downtown. And more businesses are starting to see these events that are happening, Yingling Stars and Stripes, the different things the business association is doing, bringing back the St. Patty's Day Parade. Are willing to participate and take advantage of those things and understand that they're bringing people to town that want to come shop and be a part of the community. So we're seeing more and more involvement, and they're realizing that these things are good for everybody.
What do you think the biggest concern is? I mean, whether it's crime, roads, what do you think the people's biggest concern is right now in your city?
Well, if I probably went by absolute calls, it's always roads, potholes, things of that nature. We like every city have issues with crime. I think we have a great police department that tries to address every situation one-on-one or neighborhood by neighborhood. The one thing we're seeing is a lot of communities is more of a homeless issue. And trying to deal with that, you want to help those that are in need, and yet nobody likes to see those things in their downtown or in their neighborhood for that matter, and it's something we're learning to address and work more with.
One of the things you discussed when you were running for office, you talked about cooperation in working with other officials in the state of Pennsylvania, like Senator Argo and your state representatives. How has that been working for you?
That's been going very well. They've been supportive. They've gotten us answers when we've needed some things. We're working on a rainwater project. It requires a lot of government involvement and hopefully grant money to help us get this job done. They've been very cooperative and all levels, from county down through our Harrisburg and even down to our Washington representatives have been here to fund different projects. It's certainly how the Alvernia College Town Pottsville is happening, and they're going to open and have classes here by January. So, there's been a lot of great cooperation.
And Senator Argo, I think, is doing a great job. I mean, Dave, he's been really good to us. Representative Twerchik, and I can't think of the other person. I know Jamie Barton's running right now, but the people that are there now, I know when we call them and we need something from them, they're there. They're very transparent, and I think that's important. And you know what I found out? They're like you, Dave. They have their heart and soul into what they do. you're no phony, okay? What you say you do, and you believed in it for many years, because I know you since 1999. So I could say this with factual. You're not as handsome as I am, but the point is, and I think people want to see that. I think people want to see sincerity. They don't want to be bull-thrown. I mean, they have enough of that happening in their lives, with all the nonsense that's going on today. It's just amazing. But I have to applaud you and your council. And your team here for what you're doing.
Well, one of the great things about the team here in City Hall as a whole, no matter what department you go to, the vast majority are born and raised, or at the very least, long-term city residents, and have a certain amount of pride in our hometown, and and in a lot of cases defend it very vehemently. That Pottsville's a great place. We are the largest city in the county of Schuylkill. We like to believe we are the leaders, and when we're doing good and things are prosperous here, that other communities feel the vibe and and look to Pottsville and go, look, if they can do it, we can do it. They have that small town pride also.
Yeah. We're going to take a short break, but before we take a break, coming up next is Bill Messaros, and Bill is head of Parks, Recreation, Public Property, et cetera, et cetera.
Yes, he is.
Okay, and we'll find out what's going in that area. Okay, remember, my friends, if you're not subscribing to the Pottsville Herald, please consider it. We'll see you in about a couple minutes. Welcome back to the Sam Lesante Show, folks. Once again, thank you so much for participating in our polling. Susquehanna Research and polling company did scientific research, and it shows us as #1 talk show in northeastern Pennsylvania. Appreciate it. And also, again, I'm very happy to announce that we are now media partners with the Pottsville Republican Herald, and of course, we've been with the Standard Speaker for a while. If you're not subscribing to those papers, I highly recommend you do. My guest now, Bill Messaros. Bill, you're a councilman, right?
Yes.
First of all, you have my condolences.
Well,
for working with the mayor. I mean, you're just working with him, you need a lot of prayers. I mean, God bless you. Okay.
Well, he faces a lot of challenges, as you can imagine. I see it day in and day out.
Dave's a good man. He means well, and that's you can tell that. But anyway, let's talk about how long have you been a councilman?
I've just was elected councilman. In 2016, I was elected to be city controller.
Okay.
So I did 6 years as city controller.
All right.
And now with the gentleman that had with my predecessor in Parks and Public Property, decided that he believes in term limits, and he believed after 18 years of serving in various locations, the last date as a member of council, it was time to move on.
Who was that?
That was Joe Devine.
Yeah. I've interviewed Joe a couple of times.
Okay.
Nice person.
Very good.
And another person who was really concerned about the town. Okay, I interviewed him at the pool, and he was talking about the different things. But let's talk about what's happening with your, the parks and pools and recreation and great things that are happening.
Well, as far as it's like a never-ending evolution. We're constantly trying to. Our big thing right now is trying to refurbish and upgrade the playgrounds. We have 11 parks, which are actually playgrounds, and we try to keep that up to date, and naturally with the equipment to keep that well maintained, and the surrounding areas as well, to keep it healthy for the young people to enjoy it. Mm-hmm. And along with that, we do have our major parks, like we have General Jolin Park on the east side.
Yes.
And that has been a great evolution of what we're trying to do to keep our parks open and friendly. That had one time been, as Mr. Devine would have told you, that was the East Side Pool.
Yes.
And that eventually now, as what you see there with the basketball court, the skate park, is always something that we're trying to do along that line.
That happened around the Centennial, or was it the Legacy? Was it?
Legacy.
Yeah, I remember we were very involved with that Legacy, and but a lot of great events are happening there, huh?
Yes, lasting legacy. Pandemic put a damper on a lot of things, as you can imagine. Yeah. But up until that time, we would have bands there, free concerts, and things of that nature, because There actually was an old reservoir, a small one up in the back there that they turned into an amphitheater, which is perfect for, you know, with a stage that provides that opportunity for to bring bands in and things of that nature. So that's one of our highlights. We're very proud of that, especially with the general being from town and having the opportunities. Was our main speaker to Memorial Days ago. He was really well received, and it was amazing to see that. And what a great guy! You know, I had a chance to get to be around him a little bit. The Historical Society did a dinner the night before Memorial Day honoring him, and he made it a point to go around and talk to everyone. And I was shocked when he came up behind us at our table, and you know, such a friendly guy. One of our other parks that we're very proud of, that's somewhat of a recent evolution, is the Yingling Park at 10th and Montungo, and it extends from Montungo down to Norwegian. It's to 11th. It's not a very big block, but it's something that was, I guess we could say we reconditioned it a certain way to make it more friendly for, thanks to Mr. Yingling and his family for donating it to the city. That was their spring house was there when they first moved to that section of the city with the brewery. So that creates a nice ambiance with the spring house and the lights on that. But that's where we hold our Christmas in the City at the park. So that we'll have like our Crimson Academy will send down their the various levels of their dancers to perform. We have carolers of different groups throughout the city that will come in and sing carols for us. Santa's on board to get pictures taken. They bring in a company that has a small ranch in Sacramento, Pennsylvania, outside Valley View, that has a horse-drawn carriage rides for the people up and down Montungo Street. So it has been well received, and it has.
When does that start?
We start that 3 weeks before Christmas.
Okay.
And we do it every week then up until Christmas. And we also have reindeer. We actually have 2 reindeer come in with their handlers, and they let the children would love to see that and get their pictures taken with them. Mr. Devine was very a catalyst for this. Is our Bark Park out at the end of Peacock Street. It was a playground that really wasn't used as much as it had been, and so basically we reconverted that into a bark park. So we have a section where it's open for large dogs and a section for small dogs. It's all up to grade with latest in technology and everything, facial recognition to get in, so you don't have to worry about having your key to get in through the entranceway. There's like a little foyer, gate opens, you get in, it'll close, and then it'll open again and let you go. And you can let your dog off the lead and let them run. And there's some obstacles there that they can play with. It, you know, the only limit is your imagination. So that's really caught on. We have one we're working on one right now that I'm sure the mayor can't wait to tell you about in future telecasts. It would be the Discovery Park at 3rd and Market, right beside our public library.
What's that?
We're going to, two mayors before Terry Riley, it was something that he envisioned for that section there. It had been property that was owned, goes back to like Western Bell and down through AT&T and everything, but they don't need as much area.
Yeah.
So it turned into an open grass area, so we were fortunate enough to get control of that land. And so we're going to try to turn it into, there will be a mural, as the mayor had talked about. Mike Lohr, yes. And so he had pictures of one of the original fire trucks. I believe it was the American Hose. And that's going to be the center of the mural. And on one side will be a young girl, since we're close to the library, with an open book as she's reading about the history of Pottsville. So I think that will really add to it as well. The artist is working on that right now, and you'll see bits and pieces of it. And we've been fortunate enough for the property owner adjoining it to allow us to put a mural on the side of his building. So we're waiting for that to be finished. It should be really interesting. But our main gem of our parks and public property would be JFK Pool. And you had mentioned that
Yes.
you had been there before.
Yes.
And as you
Yeah.
can imagine,
Oh, it's beautiful.
and it's our home to many activities.
Yes.
You know, just with the way the temperature has been and this past summer, our manager out there, Nora Lee Matz, and her daughter, Mrs. Jill Freeman, they do tremendous work with keeping that up to go. And I have to give it to our the parks foreman. I'm a very small cog in this whole thing. Dave Clark, our parks foreman, he's constantly out there trying to upgrade certain things, electric, the kitchen, and things of that nature, as well as the pumping and keeping track of that.
And it's clean too.
Oh, and constantly have to keep.
Bill, do me a favor,
Sure.
okay? When it's beginning, when you're ready to open the pool, okay?
Sure.
I'd love to do a show like I did there before on location, okay? So we could show the public the facility and all the things that are available to it, etc. I remember doing that a while back. If you wouldn't mind.
Sure, we'd like to do that. You know, you got to remember our pool's an old pool. It was opened in 1965.
I know.
And it takes a lot of energy
Yes.
to keep it the way it is.
I was very impressed with it. I think it was great for the community, okay? Anything in closing? Got about 30 seconds left.
Oh, well, I have to thank them for all they do at the pool, and they have all not only swim lessons, but they have lifeguard training there. You get full certification to become a lifeguard there. Mrs. Freeman, Nora Lee's daughter, runs that. She teaches that. She's also a public school teacher in special ed. So one of the newest things that they had, activity that they put together, was adaptive swim lessons. And they opened it up for all people who are challenged, that may not feel comfortable.
Wonderful, wonderful.
And we opened the pool up just for them, specifically on certain
Great.
times. We had such great feedback about that, that's something that we'll be continuing to expand on, as we hope. One last thing there, I'm sorry,
Go ahead.
killing you the time-wise there. We are trying also to open a community garden. And the community garden will be out at the pool, outside the pool confines and fencing. We just started that. We got a little late start on it this year, and it didn't take off as well as we would have hoped. However, it's getting to the point where I think that good things could happen there.
Good.
And one final thing there, we're at the bike path too. So we always have the fitness challenge. We'll be in exchange with some of the activities with that. You know, the only limit on that basically is finding people to lead the different types of activities for us. And one last thing is we have the Garfield Square is very important.
Yes.
As the mayor had mentioned. Thankfully, the Humane Fire Company will bring Santa in when we have the tree lighting, our city tree.
That's always a
will be
fun day.
Yes, and then very nice that Pastor John Wallace of the First United Methodist Church invites all the kids over to the church right across the street.
Good.
And we have a place where we can provide some light refreshments and a little package for them.
Well, it looks like you're doing nothing, huh?
Well,
It looks like there's nothing happening. I'll tell you, first of all, Bill, I want to congratulate you and all the councilmen and anybody who gives public service these days. It takes a lot of challenges, and I think the public should know that, you know, people like you and the mayor and your council, all those people, it's always a challenge, and I want to thank you for participating and doing the great job that you're doing.
well, thank you for seeing that, but it's what we want to do to help the city and to help the people. We have a great percentage of great people in our city.
I love it. I think that they're great. We're going to take a break, and we'll be back with the mayor. Welcome back to the Sam Lesante Show, folks. I'm here at the mayor's office in Pottsville, Pennsylvania, with Mayor Dave Clews. And once again, thank you for participating in our polling. Susquehanna Polling and Research, they're probably one of the top in the country in researches, and shows this show that you're watching right now hits 56,000 people each week. We appreciate it on all of our shows. And also, we're very happy to have a media partnership, not only with the Standard Speaker in Hazleton, but now in Pottsville with the Pottsville Republican Herald. And these are papers that pay attention to what's happening in the neighborhood, my friends, sports, events, etc. And I love their coupons. I think it's over 20 bucks they saved last Sunday on the papers. But if you're not subscribing, support your local papers. and we appreciate your support. Mayor, interesting things that Bill had to say about Parks and Recreation, but there's some exciting things happening now with the season coming up, right?
Yes, yes. I've been working on, since I was president of the Business Association, a project to get a mural in downtown Pottsville. And after 3 years of work and location hunting, between the next 2 weeks, it'll finally be up and in place. It's a great aerial shot of the city of Pottsville. It's done in a postcard style. One of the things people should know that I found very interesting, the stamp date on it, because it is looking like a postcard, is actually the date that the city of Pottsville was founded. So that's kind of interesting. And that'll be up at the intersection of Center and West Norwegian Street. 20 foot long and 14 foot high. It's massive. And like I said, it's been a 3-year project, so looking forward to that. We've got some other murals in the works and going to happen. So that's nice to finally get that accomplished after this amount of time. And then, of course, we're heading into that time of year, Sam. Christmas is coming up. So I'm kind of reaching out and saying, listen, you know, the Business Association is going to help us out, but we're dealing with 20-plus-year-old lights. Our street department has MacGyvered them together for years now, and it's time for them to be updated. So I'm going to be reaching out to a lot of the local businesses and corporations for some funds to help us update our lights downtown. And you know, next year we'll have some great new Christmas lights happening. So excited about that. You know, when you get to do that, there's nothing like, I think of the old days growing up and walking down Center Street with all the great Christmas lights and stores decorated. Yeah. And you know, I want my children to see that. I want my grandchildren to see that. Yeah. And understand what hometown pride is and how the holidays are special.
There's something about that. Yeah, you're 100% right. You know, when the town's lit up, it gives you that, you know, feeling. You know, it's good. Anything in closing, Mr. Mayor?
You know, always look forward to the time we spend together, getting the word out, Sam. You know, sometimes people you know, tell me you look at this town way too positive, and well. First of all, the mayor should, yeah. And it is my hometown, and I'm awful proud of it. So, you know, I like to keep the positive vibe going. And there are days that it's a little tough to do in the mayor's chair, but
and I think the leadership is so important. You know, working with council, working with people. You know, it's always a challenge. You know, and it's a give and take situation. It's a compromise in different areas, and you've been excellent at that. You know, your business has been here for many years. 12 Oak Dave, you've been there servicing the area, so you don't exist that long without doing things right, Dave. You know, and that's, you know, I enjoy doing this show because it gives me an opportunity to show off what's happening in this wonderful town, you know.
Thank you.
It really is. I found that people here some of them, you know, you have a couple that you have to have some challenges with, but that's what makes it a lot of fun. If you have any questions or comments, my friend, my email is sam@ssptv.com. More than happy to bring them to the table, discuss with the mayor. Other than that, once again, thank you for taking the poll. And we appreciate having a media partnership with the Standard Speaker and also here in Pottsville, the Republican Herald. Great people. If you're not subscribing, I highly recommend you do. See you next time.